Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to greet you a happy National Women's Month. Welcome to our webinar entitled Her Story, Empowered Women, Empowering Women, brought to you by the Students Affairs Center. I am Diane Joy Fernandez, the 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐄 Local Student Council President, and I will be your host for today. So good afternoon, guys. I hope you are all doing well, and we would like to give you a few reminders before we proceed. So please turn off your microphone and camera. Ayan, pakipatay po ang ating mga mic at camera habang tayo po ay nasa webinar unless you are asked to respond. Use the chat box responsibly. And don't forget to fill up the evaluation form at the end of this webinar. E-certificates will be given only to those who have filled up the evaluation form. And lastly, learning is fun, so enjoy and let us all make this webinar worthwhile. Kaya chillax lang kayo dyan, especially later magkakaroon tayo ng sharing. So we need your participation. If you want to share something with us, you can do so later in our sharing part. All right, so I think everybody is ready to formally start our program. May I call on Ms. Patricia May Buenviaje to lead the prayer, followed by the Philippine National Anthem and the Trinity March as rendered by the Trinity Chorale.
Close our eyes and let's pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Hallelujah, Father God. Thank you once again for giving us this wonderful day to gather in this webinar to help women to empower themselves and also help them to fight their own rights. I will leave the speaker to lead to give her wisdom, knowledge, leading, and guidance, Panginoon, sa pagbibigay sa amin ng mga impormasyon na dapat naming matutunan at dapat naming malaman sa pakikipaglaban sa karapatan ng mga kababaihan. Hinihingi rin po namin sa inyo ang wisdom, knowledge, leading, safety, and every day in our life, Panginoon. And before we start an event, we would like to thank Lord, the Student Affairs Center for giving us this opportunity, and also to the partners to help us to learn more about the women. And with this, all the things we pray in Jesus' name we pray, Amen.
Bayang magiliw, preso silanganan, alab ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuloy ka lang mag-ibig, sa manlulupig, di ka pagsisihin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo buhaw. May dilag kang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang isa't ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig. Ang bituin at araw na kailang pa may di magdidinig. Lupa ng araw na luwalan ating pagsinta. Buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. Hail, beloved Trinity, may all thy colors wave high. You're the pride we hold so dear, to thee we pledge our loyalty. Beloved alma mater, come behold His glory clear. May our eyes enlarge thy fame, Trinity's noble name. Hail, beloved Trinity, behold thy colors wave high. You're the pride we hold so dear, to thee we pledge our loyalty. Beloved alma mater, come behold His glory clear.
Thank you, Miss Patricia. And to welcome everyone for today's event, let's give a warm welcome to our beloved Dean of Students, Dr. Marlon J. Gomez. Good afternoon po, Dean Gomez.
Good afternoon, Diane. I'd like to welcome everyone to our commemoration of Women's Month for the month of March. I would like to thank Ma'am Leah for spearheading this activity for all of us. No, I'd like to provide some background there, no, about why we are celebrating Women's Month. There are still some people who say that uh, women here in the Philippines has as much opportunity, no, as much opportunity as compared to their male counterparts. But if we will look at it, then maybe we have made some great achievements in raising women's economic empowerment, political participation, leadership, and decision making, especially here in Asia and the Pacific region. There has been remarkable progress in education and health. Um, Very recently, 47 countries in the region have ratified the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. And 33 countries now have strategies on gender equality. On the local front, there are a lot of efforts by some of our local government, no? But all of this, not everything are all flowers and roses and no. There are still a lot of issues that that we have to face. Number one, let us admit that there are still substantial gender gaps that continue to deprive women and girls the opportunities for them to succeed. So we continue to remain off target, no, in the achievement of our sustainable development goals on gender equality. While secondly, while we're able to see better educational outcomes and economic growth, no, they were not translated into more and better jobs for women. Um, I do not know if most will agree there are still a lot of uh, uh, men-dominated, no, male-dominated professions, and the women's labor force participation rates have stagnated, no, and declined. Okay, and women have been disproportionately impacted due to this pandemic, right? That's why mapansin nyo kahit lahat ng paraan gagawin, it's always the women that does all the that that does the additional work to help sustain and help the family. Uh, Today we have our guest speaker, and going through all of this, no, we welcome each and every one of you to hear our speaker and her story. Oh, ang ganda ng and her story, no? Empowered women, empowering women. Later on, she will be introduced by, I think, our MC. So we are very fortunate that our speaker has time to share her stories, and with the intimate gallery that we have, the intimate ang gallery natin, but this kind of intimacy would be the best venue for interaction and questions and a clarification of what we believe in terms of gender roles or change. Di ba yan? So, di ba sabi nga nila, ang ano yung kasabihan in Tagalog? Ay sorry, meron pa lang yung mga our international students just translate it. I think I saw Francelo. There is this saying in Tagalog or in Filipino, ang ina daw ang ilaw ng tahanan, right? Eh ano daw yung ama? Ano ang ama daw ng tahanan? Haligi, mali, Dayan. Hindi po haligi. Ang ama daw ang tagapunde ng ilaw ng tahanan. So with that, I would like to make this something worthwhile for us and be able to listen and learn from each other. I'd like to congratulate everyone for facilitating this activity. So I will not keep you waiting. Um, we can get the ball rolling for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gomez, for that heartwarming and very informative message for all. Ayan. Thank you po. And now, without any further ado, it is a privilege to present to you our speaker for today. Women make change. We take this opportunity to honor all the Wonder Wanas from all walks of life who fulfilled extraordinary roles in our society. With us today is another Wonder Wana who continually makes significant and outstanding mark on her field. Totoo to guys, kasi upon reading her background and all her achievements, mapapawaw talaga tayo and very wonderful ang kanyang story. Our guest speaker is the program manager of 𝐒𝐂𝐁𝐄 Memorial Foundation, a non-governmental organization in the Philippines working with the education sector to recover the reading ability of children who are left behind. Among others, she manages the Learning English Through Stories program, otherwise known as Let's Read, a program which spans all across our country. Prior to this, she was the master teacher or learning supervisor at the Affordable Private Education Center or APEX schools in Lipa City and was recognized as the only senior high school learning supervisor from the 21 sites of the APEX schools nationwide to receive a perfect performance evaluation from the classroom teachers. An educator at heart, our guest speaker was a graduate of Bachelor in Secondary Education from St. Louis University, Baguio City, and is taking her Master of Education in Advanced Teaching from the University of the People in California. A dedicated and versatile educator who was once awarded as an outstanding English teacher when she was a secondary school teacher at Irisan National High School, Baguio City. She is committed to empower children and adults regardless of the diverse cultures and conditions they are in. Our speaker did not just influence so many lives locally, she also made remarkable waves in the international setting when she joined the volunteer service overseas as an education specialist for child-friendly school in Malawi, Africa. With her performance, she was voted to represent the international volunteers from the Central Malawi region to the VSO country office in the United Kingdom. She is also recognized as the 2020 Ambassador for the World Literacy Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our esteemed guest speaker, Ms. Raylene N. 𝐒𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐁𝐄. Hello ma'am, good afternoon po. Ms. Raylene?
Ayan, that's the problem when we are doing online, no? I was talking, nakamute pala ako. So anyway, thank you very much for a very nice introduction. so I'll try my very best to live up to it. And I was also listening to our welcome remarks by Dr. Gomez earlier. And yeah, he kind of summarized everything that I am going to share with you this afternoon. So as mentioned in my introduction, I'm a teacher. So expect na meron tayong recitation mamaya. Pag teacher ang nagsasalita, you always expect that. Um, Anyway, it's my pleasure to be with you this afternoon. I hope that at the end of the 1 hour or so interaction, you will consider it as a time well spent. And I say interaction because, as mentioned earlier, I expect that you'll also be sharing your thoughts through the chat box, or by sharing your ideas. um, Last year, it was actually last year when Leia talked to me about doing this. So this was before before the lockdown, and I agreed. My thought was, how hard would it be to get young girls, young college students, put them together in a space, get them talking, facilitate discussions, and just talk about women empowerment. I found that I can do that. Then this year, pero because of the pandemic, unfortunately, the plan was shelved. And then this year, Leah talked to me again, saying, "Shall we do it this time?" I said yes again, without giving it much thought. It was only later that I realized, oh Lord, that is like an hour of hearing myself talking. Sometimes I get bored hearing myself talk. So I hope that this afternoon it won't be in your case. Um, without further ado, I think we can start with our discussion. And please feel free to share your thoughts. Use the chat box and give your reactions. No, so allow me to share my PowerPoint with you. Yeah. Okay. So for this for today, the title of our event is Her Story: Empowered Women Empowering Women. And I have some questions that I would like to ask you guys so that we can start off our discussion. Pero before that, these are the things that we would like to understand at the end of this talk. First, who or what is an empowered woman? And why is it important to empower women? And how do we empower women? How do we empower ourselves? I can see from the gallery that we have a considerable number of girl participants, women participants, but we also have some guys, and that is great because we need them on our side. So, how do we empower women, and where and how do we get that power as women? So, these are questions that we hope at the end of the session we will be able to answer. Keywords for this afternoon would be woman and empower. So pag sinabing, when we say woman, who is a woman? What do we mean by woman? And the Cambridge dictionary, or any dictionary that you would refer to for that matter, would definitely refer to woman as somebody from the female gender, no? And how about empower? This one is a big word, and I'd like us to try to define it together. We'll define it by answering two questions. And by answering, that is you sharing your ideas through the chat box. Um, I understand that the Student Affairs Office has prepared prizes for you guys. So the first people to be able to share their answers through the chat box will get a chance to these prizes. And the first question would be, who is an empowered woman that you know? Who is an empowered woman that you know? You can go ahead and type your answers in our chat box. Oh my God, my audio is... Okay, so Maria Bless Adriano says, my mom. Another, si Jermaine also says that the empowered woman she knows is her mom. Anyone else? Again, the mom from Francelino. Myself, si Danica. Wow, that's great. And me, Jermaine again. Who else? Aside from our parents, our moms, and ourselves, are there other empowered women that we know? So Diane also says myself. Okay, so we have this girl sharing with us their answers. So basically, we have two answers: our moms and ourselves. And Jermaine also has Miriam Defensor. So Jermaine has three answers. Anne Margot says, my mom, me, and some of my professors. Yeah. Now let us try to use these answers to answer this next question that I have for you guys. Okay, wait a minute. So we have these women, no? Like we have our moms, we have ourselves, we have some of our professors, we have Miriam Defensor Santiago as answers. The question is, what makes you say that these people, these women are empowered? What qualifies them to be empowered? So this time, I'd like you to share your answers. So maybe if you have to turn on your audio and share with us your thoughts. Let's start with Maria Bless Adriano. So if we could spotlight Maria Bless, so we can hear her thoughts. Why do you consider your mom as an empowered woman?
Hello, good afternoon po. Rinig po ako?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Opo. Ang sagot ko po is yung nanay namin, o nanay ko. Kasi po, walo po kami magkakapatid. And according nga po sa kanya, kasi bawat anak daw may iba't ibang characteristic or personality. So, kumbaga parang hindi biro na magpalaki ng 8 anak na may iba't ibang personality. And ayun po siguro yung masasabi ko kung bakit siya yung nasagot ko kanina.
Thank you very much, Maria. So, yeah, it's like to raise 8 kids on your own. That's really something, no? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How is my audio with you guys?
All clear po, ma'am.
Okay, that's good. So thinking about I am a single woman, and just to think of one child, of raising one child, I feel that is a great responsibility. And to be able to raise 8 children, that is really something. So thank you, Maria Bless, for sharing your thoughts. How about Jermaine? Jermaine, you've had 3 answers, so you can choose. You can choose if it's your mom or yourself or Miriam Defensor Santiago. What makes what makes these women?
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon. Naririnig niyo po ako?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Ayan. Siguro po, actually, I have a general answer for all my explanation rather for all my answers. The reason why I consider these women that I answered earlier as an empowered woman is because they also empower other people. They inspire other people to become better, to impact their community, and to do something that is not only for themselves but also for others. So kaya po naisip ko na yung mga babae po na yun ay empowered women.
All right. So you're right. Actions that we do that impact our community, that has an effect on our society in general, that is a sign that we are making a difference, and that is empowerment. How about si Francelino? Francelino considers his mom as empowered woman. Are you there,
Hello po.
Francelino? Yes. So we have one of the guys sharing their answers and joining us this afternoon. Welcome to the group. So why do you consider your mom as what makes your mom empowered?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Why I say my mom is an empowered woman, because since my mom is a single parent, so she's taking care of us and until now. So that's why
I can say she's an empowered woman for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Francelino, for sharing. And we have Patricia. How about Patricia? Patricia also considers her mom as an empowered woman. So, Patricia, can we hear from you?
Yun po. Si mom po kasi, she is, survived po na cancer patient po. And then, super empowered niya for me po kasi, even though nahihirapan na siya with her life, she's fighting for her life as well kasi para din sa amin, para makita niya kami makagraduate and also to have a better future po, ganun.
Thank you very much, Patricia. And last for this particular question, si Danica. Danica considers herself to be empowered. Can you tell us more about this, Danica?
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon. I am Danica Espiritu from College of Arts, Sciences, and Education. And I consider myself as an empowered woman kasi I agree with Miss Albea kanina, no? Na we should empower not just ourselves, not just yung co-women natin, but also lahat po. And I have the passion na gusto ko yung pagkakita ko yon yung pakiramdam ko na para empower lahat, maipasa ko sa next generation as a future teacher. Yun po.
Okay, thank you very much. And it's really inspiring to hear you guys speaking because this is this kind of events are grounds also for you to realize your powers as students and your powers as women and men in general, no? So thank you very much for sharing your answers, and you're right. So if we are going to look at I'm having difficulty ayan. If we are going to look at the definition of empowered women, the Cambridge Dictionary defines empowered as someone who is confident and in control of of his or her life, no? And if we are going to put this together alongside with the World Bank's definition of empowerment, we could say that an empowered woman is someone who is confident and in control of her life. And by in control, we mean she has the capacity to make choices and to transform those choices into desired actions and outcomes. So that is the definition that is our working definition this afternoon for an empowered woman. If we try to go back kasi sa history ng empowerment and all of this is part, as Mr. Gomez has introduced earlier, this is all part of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations, where we are trying to get all women across the globe by 2030 to be empowered, to be at least at par. We want to achieve gender parity by 2030. So by gender parity, gusto natin they have these choices, and then they can make use of these choices to come up with actions and outcomes, not hindered by their gender and by the fact that they are born as women. We want that by 2030 sana, it's no longer an issue whether you're a girl or a boy, or whether your life is decided before birth because you are a girl. So that is our goal. So now, talking about given this definition, our participants who shared earlier their answers, they really are empowered because they had the choice to share, and they were able to share it, and the outcome is that it makes our discussion richer. It makes our we are able to get to get something from their ideas and from their thoughts. And if we're we mentioned ourselves, our moms, which is really true. And one specific example, we have Miriam Defensor Santiago. She's one of the trailblazers in Philippine politics. She speaks her mind without fear. So she's a fearless, empowered woman. And these are examples that we have around us, and we have a lot of them in our midst. No, this pandemic, they have our women folks have risen and have shown to us what it is like to be to manage to manage a pandemic at this scale, and to manage a household in times of pandemic. If you have been reading the news during the first months of the pandemic, you would have seen that the countries that are better managed, that are better equipped to manage the pandemic, or are doing well in managing the pandemic, what are countries that were run by women. For example, we have New Zealand, so we have Jacinda Ardern, and in Taiwan, what are the other countries? Those Denmark also. So all these countries, they are being run by women. So other than that, we also, so the fact that you mentioned earlier that um, our moms are empowered, and since since we are talking about Juana sa panahon ng pandemya, Kaya, we have seen so many women rise up to this occasion. There are news na sinasabi, we have more women are feeling the effect on their mental health because they are managing the household as well as doing work at the same time. Globally, there is still this strong patriarchal societies, where, as Dr. Gomez said earlier, na men are the haligi ng tahanan. They are the foundation, but it's the women who actually manage the household, and that's fine. But this time around, with with changes, with changes in our society, we are hoping that there'd be more participation from the men folk in terms of managing households, and that is where we would like to go, no. But this time, this pandemic, siguro, if you have sisters, if you have moms, if you have younger brothers and sisters still studying, and they have to do their modules online, or their modules na hard copies, it's not easy. It's not easy to work and at the same time be teaching your kids. But these are what our mothers are doing. I know another empowered woman. She celebrated her birthday. She just celebrated her birthday a few days ago. So it was the same thing before the lockdown. During the lockdown, she she just thought of doing something nice, and so she ordered this bilao of pancit, had it sent over to the medical city. And from there, they realized na with the lockdown, our nurses and our doctors, they have nowhere to go buy their food because all establishments are closed, and that started a sort of an action. They formed this group, and they started cooking for all the different frontliners, for our for the different hospitals in the city. So they coordinated the uh, the transport of vegetables donations, egg donations, and all those stuff. And these were all done and managed by women. So I'm just highlighting this because we are talking of women. I'm not saying na walang ginawa yung ating mga kalalakihan, no? But what I am saying is that if we have empowered women in our midst, there are lots of things that can be done and that can be achieved. So if we are going to look at it also, in some cultures, um, the other day I had this I belong to this I joined this app where you write to people, right? You write to random people you don't know. And then there was someone who sent me like a week ago, um a letter. It was a letter that was greeting me, Happy Women's Day, and it's like it was in support of the Women's Day celebration. And in response, without much thought about it, I just said, yeah, thank you very much. I am very lucky to have been born in a nation and in a culture where women are respected and are valued. And that is right. Because it was only when I was preparing this speech that I got to reflect more on that. Um, the the goal is by 2030 nga we've achieved gender parity, but this day and up to this time we still have a lot of women across the globe whose situations are different from ours, no. So we have the fact alone that you are with us this afternoon, that is already a reason to celebrate. And that is because behind you there is somebody who believed in your education, and that could be your mom, that could be your family. And if you are driving your own car to school, that is because someone believed that you can do it as a woman. In Saudi Arabia, like it was only a year ago that they allowed women to drive on their own. So you can just imagine how different the situations are. No, in some other cultures, women are not encouraged to go to school. They are not given any inheritance at all, because they grow up, they get married, and they leave the family. So if they are given inheritance, that part of property is out of the family already. So they don't give this type of resources to women, and it makes it difficult to be empowered if you have nothing, no. And in the Philippines, that is not the case. So these are some of the good things that we celebrate this time that we are celebrating women empowerment. We are also, as women in this country, we are also allowed to choose our husbands, no. And we are all, and if we don't want to get married, it's fine. Though of course, if that is the case, meron pa rin sa atin yung it is innate in our culture where uh, where family and friends would keep nagging you. Kailan ka mag-aasawa? O wala ka pang anak, anong edad ka na? I know this for a fact because that is my case. But but let me tell you this, your value as a woman is not uh, is not measured. Your value as a woman is not measured by the fact that you have a husband or you have children. So I would just like to emphasize that, because it's a choice. You have the choice, no? Um, and these are narratives. These are narratives. These are stories that we have. And if we are going to look at data, the Philippines ranks 16th among 164 countries in terms of gender parity. So this is 2020 data from the World Economic Forum. So we rank one among Asian countries. So and that is ahead. That is ahead of countries like United Kingdom and Canada, and so we are 16th. United States, they are 53rd. So why is it now? Why is it that we celebrate this and we still keep on talking about women empowerment? We might ask ourselves, okay, so we are number 16. Great, yay, hey, congratulations to us. But what does that? How does that translate in terms of women's right and in terms of women's empowerment? Simple lang naman. What this means is that we have a greater number of individuals in this country whose potentials are being used. Di ba sa physics we have what we call potential energy and kinetic energy. And if something is just sitting there, that's potential energy. But if we make use of that energy, it is kinetic and it produces something, di ba? It's the same with women. We want to maximize the potential of these women so that they can contribute to society, they can contribute to the family. We are not saying that, by staying at home, they are not contributing at all. But then we have to give them that choice that it is possible that that's not what they want to do. And so that has to be a choice for our women folk, no? Um, and aside from that, aside from getting these women, that is like, we can say, siguro sabihin natin, that's half of our country's population, no? We can say that aside from contributing to finances, to economics, it's also contributing to better uh, state in the family. Um, kahit sabihin natin we are doing well in terms of women empowerment, um, hindi rin natin mawawala. We also cannot deny the fact that still there is this expectation that men, being the haligi ng tahanan, they are supposed to provide for the family. Am I correct? Do you agree with me? So there is this kind of expectation that they are supposed to provide for the family, and that is actually a lot of pressure to our men folk. It's a lot of it's a lot to ask for, considering that times have changed. Siguro during those days when during back then that worked, but then this time it's a bit more challenging. So with women contributing to the family finances, then there is less pressure, less stress, and relations are better. And with women allowed also to contribute, they have more financial independence, and and that alone is power, no? Okay, so with this number 16, let us try to break down what it means. So it is, how is this translated to? It is translated to our country having more women in senior leadership roles, as well as professional and technical professions. The International Labor Organization recently published that the country ranks fourth in terms of the number of women in the top positions. So if you're in the Philippines, you expect like 50% of the time you would have, a female manager. And that is an achievement in terms of women empowerment. Though, sabi nga kanina ni Dr. Gomez, there are still lots to be done. The other week we were at I forgot the name of the place in Rizal. It is like forested area, and we encountered staff from the Laguna Lake Development Authority, LLDA. And when I saw it, it's like, oh my God, it is like a boys' club. Everyone who is in that group, they are men. So I was telling my boss, it's amazing, no, bakit wala silang babae? So I start, you cannot help but wonder how come there are no girls in the team. And there could be a lot of explanation, but one explanation could be is that there are less women in who join the sciences and engineering fields. So that could be a possible explanation. But at the back of my mind, I was like thinking, maybe I should go talk to them and ask them why. Bakit mga lalaki silang lahat? It's like there are like 10 men from the LLDA, and all are men. So uh, if we look at that, there still we need women participating still in terms of dito sa mga fields na ito. We are not forcing women naman to go to these fields, no? But probably there is a need to create that mindset among girls that it's okay for them to join a career which is at the moment dominated by men, and that is where we need to work towards, no? Another one is we rank fifth in the indicator assessing gender wage equality. So what does this mean? Fifth pa tayo. So ibig sabihin, we have not yet reached that point where men and women are getting the same salary. So mas mataas pa rin yung mga there's still a percentage of men who are getting a bigger salary than their female counterparts. And in some countries, this is a very big issue. I don't know if nanonood ba kayo ng Big Bang? Like, have you watched the Big Bang Theory? There was a time that news about the male actors taking a cut in their salary para lang pumantay yung salary nung mga ibang kasama nilang mga actresses, because they were the discrepancy is just really too much. And we want to reach a point where sana, girls are receiving the same as their male counterparts. What else? Women live in good health. According to this 2020 Global Gender Gap Index results, actually women kind of live at around 5 years longer than men. So what does that say? Maybe there has to be also men empowerment in terms of health, no? What else? Literacy rates for both women and men is at 98%. This is what data is saying. But I know for a fact, since I work on the field of education and the field of literacy, that this term literacy, it's a bit medyo ano yung kanilang definition. Having worked in this field for like the past 3 years in a non-government organization dedicated to this, what I have noticed is we have girls, we have more girls scoring better in terms of their reading abilities and performing better in school generally, no? As compared to men, as compared to boys. So this is in primary school. So girls are faring better in terms of reading a bit, in terms of literacy. Ngayon, it's all parang it follows also that when it comes to performance, we would see more girls doing better inside the classroom. So that's the question now that we ask. So if we have more girls doing better in the classroom, how come that when they get to the workplace, medyo nagkakaroon ng discrepancy? And also when they get older, it seems that there are more girl dropouts than boys. So that's a fact in our country. Bakit ganon? So I tried to do a bit of reading on it, and what I found out is that when boys when boys choose to go out of school, like to belong to the out of school youth, karamihan sa kanila it's because they are not interested to go to school. But for girls, most of them, it is because of marriage and family matters. So still, despite these advances that we have in terms of empowerment, meron pa rin tayo nung the remnants of the patriarchal society na where girls are expected to be, to manage households and to be working in the home. Pag kailangan pag may sakit yung kapatid, who stays in the home to take care of that person, it's the girl. Seldom would they ask kung between a boy and a girl na kapatid, pipiliin yung babae na mag-aalaga sa kapatid, di ba? So that is still something that we need to work on. And we also have so another thing that we are doing well is we have women representation in legislation. Actually, dito sa 2020 Global Gender Gap Index, there's like this one is 2020. There was one that was released 2017. 2017 we were ranked number 10. So titingnan, if you see, we are now ranked 16, di ba? So bumaba tayo. Was it 2014 or 2013? The one that came before 2017, we were at rank 7. So makikita natin, bumababa bumababa? Is it because we are failing on some things, or is it because nagre-regress tayo? No, it's not. Uh, it is because the other countries are catching up. And so, from our end, what do we need to do? Parang pag titingnan natin yung statistics, okay naman pala. So we are doing good. Yehey! Kulang pa. Kulang pa. It's not yet, what we have at the moment is not yet good enough. And the reason why bumaba ang ating results for 2020 is during the last election, nabawasan yung mga number of representatives natin the to Congress. Bumaba yung bilang nila, and that made a big impact in this ranking. Of course, we are not doing things just because of ranking, no, but what we want here is that we maintain that gender balance. So what else? So ngayon, if we are going to look at this, if we are going to look at that data, ang tanong is, are we good then? Ang sabi ko kanina, not yet. We are not yet good in terms of issues in empowering women. Unang-una, as we have mentioned earlier, we need more representation sa Kongreso. We need more women representing our causes in terms of legislation. No, that's why this time, okay, I'm jumping the gun here, but I will say it now. I'll say it again later. You know, kung hindi pa kayo if you have not yet registered to vote, then you better do so. And come election, you go out and vote and have your voices be heard. And hopefully, you can vote for women who can represent our issues as women, because representation matters a lot. It does. Okay, and we still have issues in terms of domestic violence. So Mr. Gomez mentioned this during the welcome remarks. No, now there are still we have women in the house. They are managing the household, and yung tawag natin sa mga lalaki, tagapundi ng ilaw. Hopefully it's not the case naman, but then we admittedly we still have a long way to go in terms of eliminating domestic violence. And most of the time when we say domestic violence, ang recipient ng violence is the woman. Bakit? Kasi mas mahina yung babae, 'di ba? Physiologically speaking, though we talk about empowerment, physiologically speaking, our bodies are, built differently. I'm not saying na babae lang ang nagiging biktima ng domestic violence. We also have men who are victims of domestic violence. And that is also a part of our conversation when we empower women, no? We'll go to that later. Another thing that we need to look into is workplaces. Yeah, we're right. We have women managers, we have men, we have parang 'di ba, in our country, I feel na hindi na masyadong issue kung yung boss mo ay babae or lalaki. We have come to that acceptance already na okay lang. Still, workplaces are not that women friendly. Halimbawa na lang, I used to when I worked for in my previous job, sometimes part of my role would be to do the final interview ng mga applicants. So it was mga teacher applicants, and most of our applicants they would be fresh graduates or probably mga young mothers who were out of who left their previous job and are now deciding to go back to work after 2 years of taking care of their children. Young professionals, these are the ones that I have experienced interviewing. And parang na-realize ko sa sarili ko, medyo from my end, medyo napaisip ako. Because, you know, when I interviewed these candidates, I couldn't help myself sometimes. Yung iniisip mo, so she has, yung parang halimbawa, kausap mo yung babae, no? Kausap mo yung applicant. And then I would sometimes think na, okay, so my baby siya. So if my baby, if the baby gets sick, who will bring the baby to the hospital? May kasama ba siya sa bahay? Yung asawa ba niya, pwedeng siya yung magdala? Or does this mean that mag-a-absent siya sa trabaho para para madala sa ospital ang bata? Or, okay, may elementary siyang anak. Usually, pag mga elementary yung anak, madaming mga PTA meeting. So, you know, nahiya ako sa sarili ko and have to stop myself thinking these things na bakit nagiging, you know, it's subjective. That in my mind, if I hire this person and in the end, mag-a-absent siya, then it will be my problem kung sino ang, you know, who will be in front of the class the time that she's not there. Which is most likely ako or someone else, di ba? So, makikita mo dito, the workplaces are not set up to support women, to support mothers. And I'm ashamed to say that me, you know, ako mismo na who feel na I'm an empowered woman, I have those thoughts. What more, di ba? What more sa iba? So these are issues that we need to consider and we need to think about. And thirdly, yun nga, yung sinabi ko kanina, why is it that there are more girls out of school than boys? So still, we have a long way to go. And since I work on the field of education and literacy, this girls' education is really close to my heart, you know? Because yung sabi nga nila, educate a girl and you educate a whole village. Education is already a source of power, a source of empowerment for our young girls. So that leads me to my next question, which I hope you can share your thoughts once again. Ang tanong ko now is, how and where do we get that power? So we talk about empowering women. We talk about eliminating domestic violence. We talk about making workspaces friendly for women. So how and where do we get this power so that we can make these things possible? How do we make women work for women? Okay, so that's my next question. Please feel free to type in your answer in the chat box. How and where do we get that power for women? Balikan natin yung inyong, while you are thinking, no? Let me just guide you. Balikan natin yung tanong, yung sagot ninyo kanina, your answers to our questions earlier. Sabi ninyo, it's yourselves, you consider yourselves empowered. Your moms are empowered. Miriam Defensor Santiago is empowered. Some of your professors, they are also empowered. Even your lola is empowered. So ang tanong is, wait lang. How and where? Saan nanggagaling yung power na ito? And how do we get that power? Any thoughts? Please feel free to type in sa inyong chat box. Parang umalis na lahat ng mga ano natin. We have 3. So, sabi dito, sabi ni Dayan, thank you. You're our star student this afternoon, ha? Thank you very much. I appreciate support from family, people around us, and experiences in life. You're right. And do we have other answers? So si Dayan lang ba ang kukuha ng prize? Anyone else who would care to share their thoughts? Values. So si Jermaine also, values, mentors, family experiences, and calling. Yeah, you're right. So Sabi ni Anne Margot, kilalang, within ourselves po. Kasi if we believe in ourselves, it translates to every actions that we do. Okay, so we have 3 brilliant answers this afternoon. When we talk of power, wait lang. Let me So when we talk of power, there are different sources of power, no? If we want to be academic about it, power comes from different things. Like it can come from authority, or it can come from position. You're a manager, so you have power. Power can also come from um, money. You have money, so you have power. So when we say authority, position, like yung authority, like you are the tribal leader, so you have the authority over the community, di ba? So these are some sources of power. But there are other things na hindi naman ganun. Kasi di ba pag siisipin natin, so pag wala akong pera, ibig sabihin wala ba akong power? Pag wala akong authority, wala akong power? Power can also come from seniority. Like, you know, you are, ikaw yung nakakatandang kapatid. So you have power over your younger brothers and sisters, di ba? Or pag ikaw yung nakakatanda sa grupo, pwede mong utos-utusan yung mga nakakabata sa inyo, those who are younger than you. So that's a source of power. But if we see power as that only, ibig sabihin, if you're the youngest, wala kang power. If you are if you don't have money, wala kang power. Is that so? Hindi naman, di ba? Because there are still other sources of power. And you're right. Sabi ni Diane Joy, it's support from family. We get power from the support that we get from our family. If we try to look at people around us, usually those who are more confident are those who get support from their family. Yung mga walang problema in terms of their family relationships, or they are connected, they have a network of people around them, di ba? So that is your source of uh, power. Or you can also have your experiences in life and your education. How do experiences in life, paano nakakapagbigay ng power itong experiences in life? The more experiences in life we have, the more wisdom that we get, di ba? So the better we become in terms of decision making. And that, we bring it to us sa workplace. We bring it with us sa ating relationships. So, you're right. And that is why it is important to get education. Because and this is what we always tell every time we have our parent seminar, every time we go to our communities, yung literacy alone, that is already source of power. You know, when we organize parent seminars, sometimes we would have parents na pupunta sa amin, sasabihin nila, ma'am, paano po yan? Hindi ko naman matutulungan yung anak ko kasi ako mismo hindi ako makapagbasa. Or you can just imagine, yung isang bata sa loob ng classroom, nakatunganga lang. Why? Because they cannot decipher the words that are written in the board. You see there, for example, in our slide, how and where do we get that power? But for someone who cannot read, that is like reading Chinese or reading Greek. It doesn't mean anything at all. So the fact that they cannot read this, that is a source of disempowerment, di ba? So where do we get power? The easiest is to get ourselves educated, no? There are a lot of things we can do, but this is something that I'm really passionate about, and this is a campaign that I am doing. This is an advocacy. It's as simple as learning to read and write and progressing from there. That is already power. How do we empower people around us? We help them become literate, no? And the fact alone that you are here in this webinar this afternoon, that is already giving yourself power, giving yourself this experience and being able to later on use it for something. So, yes, and then another one is within ourselves. Within ourselves. Ito sabi ni Jermaine, oh, I'm sure Jermaine is a teacher because is or as a student teacher. Sabi niya, one of my students post ESL gained confidence and power when he learned how to read. It's amazing. Yes. Definitely. You know, you can just see yung if you work with children, if you work with students na hindi marunong magbasa, the fact that they can do ABC, that's already something. And we start from their confidence. um, it's it's the building of confidence, gaining confidence. That's a source of power. And tama din si Ann Margo kanina yung sinabi niyang within ourselves po. And this one also I believe really, because you know, sometimes we look so hard for outside validation, but actually we are already um we already have that power within us. We already have that potential within us that we just have to unleash. And so um before I proceed to the next thing, ito muna yung aking ano, kasi parang na-mention naman na you know, there's power within us. So ang next na question ko is, ano ang power na meron ka? What is that power that you have? What is that superpower that you have within you? Can you type it in our chat box, yung mga sagot ninyo? And I hope the others, please also feel free to participate. We have, I can see 3 or 4 students typing their answers sa chat box. We'd like to see more answers. So, si Jermaine, power to influence and encourage others. Power to have a choice, yes. Anything else? Power to help people, correct. What else? And power to love. Oh, I love this answer. Because, you know, people in general are love. We all come from that space, no? So power to love. And we'll go to that later. We'll explain more on this power to love in our next slide. So, we all have this, you know, we all have these things. We have the choices, and that alone is power. But how do we choose? And how do we decide? Sabi ni Danica, power of education, that is something that you have. You are educated, and that is something that is a weapon that you can use. You have that ability, that is skill to lead, yes, and you have that ability to understand people, tama. So these are all brilliant answers, and I think everyone, 'di ba? Sino ba ang pinanganak na walang love? Sino ba ang pinanganak na wala itong ability sa kanila? Lahat kayo, they are all in this Zoom webinar. So that means that, you know, you have some you have that education. And we have that ability to understand other people. That is power in itself, because if you can understand people, then you can make decisions, informed decisions, di ba? And I always, when I used to teach, this is always something that I would tell my students and I would tell other people, because sometimes we look so hard outside. And sometimes, siguro, the others who are with us this afternoon but are not sharing, they still have to discover it. But I'd like to share with you one of my favorite poems of all time. And ang sinasabi nitong poem na to, wait lang, bakit ayaw na naman? Okay. This poem is entitled Our Deepest Fear. Have you ever heard of this? So I'd like to read it to you guys. And while I'm reading, take time. I'd like you to take time to ponder what it is saying. Our deepest fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And this is a poem written by Marianne Williamson. So if we try to look at this, it is a it is a brilliant poem. And ito yung sinasabi ko sa aking mga estudyante most of the time dati. Sabi ko, it's like pag nagtanong si if a teacher asks a question and then you would hesitate. You know the answer but you hesitate. So you did not raise your hand. And then somebody from the class raises his or her hand, gives his answer, and it is exactly the same thing that you were thinking of. Have you ever experienced the same thing? And then in your mind, sabi mo, sayang, alam ko yun eh. O, alam mo, hindi mo naman sinabi. Why? Why did you not share? Why did you not say it? Why did you not mention it? That is because, there is this fear, di ba? O, si Patricia agrees with me. I'm sure, ako, a lot of times I have this experience. And I'm sure you also have that. And this is what our poem is telling us, you are a child of God. So you often ask yourselves na sino ba ako para maging maganda, para maging matalino. Ang tanong is why? Who are you not to be? We are all born naked when we came to this world. We were all naked when we came to this world. We were born equal, and we all have the same gifts. What we just need to do is to free ourselves from this fear, make that conscious choice every day to love yourself and to liberate yourself from that fear. So that is when we are saying that you have that power to love. You have that power to love yourself. You have that power to love others. And if you love yourself and you love others, it is easy, it is easy to let your light shine. It is easier to influence people. Um, it is easier to get people to listen. And it is easier to share our thoughts because we do not feel na, nakakahiya naman, baka mali. Baka hindi nila ako pakinggan, sino ba ako, di ba? So these thoughts are very disempowering. And the first step that we have to take is to start believing in ourselves. We start believing in ourselves because we are potential. We have that potential energy and we just have to release it to the world. And it's the same thing also that, if you feel that you have that in you, then we have to start believing that the others have it in themselves also. So with this issue of women empowerment, this is actually not an issue about empowering women and disempowering men. Because if we empower women, we are, that is coming from a place of love. And if we empower women, that would translate to more support for men. So in other words, what needs to happen is there has to be this dialogue. We have to release this energy among us, dialogue between, dialogue among ourselves, and believe that, if we gain this power for ourselves, it does not mean that the men are being disempowered. It is the other way around. We empower women and at the same time we empower men. We need to have each other on each other's side. We need to believe in each other, and we have to we need to see ourselves as equal to each other. So yun yung ating ano ngayon. So um how do we empower ourselves, and how do we empower other women? We empower ourselves by slowly, it's easier said than done. Blah 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 blah, yes, I love myself, yes, I believe in myself, pero bukas pag recitation nahiya kang sumagot, or pag ano parang ay okay lang, baka sila na lang, mas magaling sila diyan. So it's just, giving yourself that chance, giving yourself that opportunity to develop your skills, to learn things, because um these are things that are very useful in terms of, gaining that power. So let's work on that, and we support each other. Dito kasi sa ano, 'di ba? Parang we have this Filipino culture where uh being good in class, or yung mga bida-bida, pabida na naman siya, ganyan. So it's not that's not the at that is not a very empowering attitude, no? So if somebody is reciting, we support, and if we have things to say, then we share it, 'di ba? We say it also. Hindi yung nag-recite yung isa tapos na naman pabida pumapapel yung mga ganun. If somebody volunteers, pumapapel. Those are not very empowering attitudes. And what we need as women supporting women is to listen to each other, support each other, build each other up. But before we can do that, we have to believe in ourselves and in our ability. We have to believe in that we have this light and we have this potential, that when we release it, uh, we are actually empowering others to do the same as well. Take that example, yung recitation alone. Sayang, alam ko yun, hindi ko sinabi eh. So, dahil may isang nag-recite, the discussion continues, di ba? So that is letting your own light shine and having the others follow. Or sometimes sabihin mo, ay, yun pala yung sabi, kung siya kaya niya, ako din, alam ko din yun na, kaya ko din, di ba? So, by just being ourselves and not being too worried sa validation from others, then that is empowerment. Step by step, we have to consciously take that decision every day. Now we are every day when you wake up and when you go out, you take that conscious decision that you will not belittle yourself, that you will believe in yourself, and then you can achieve things for yourself. And if that happens, then we have more empowered women, more empowered people around us, and it makes a better, it makes for a better society. It makes for a better environment. So at this point, this ends my presentation. If you have questions, I turn it over to our master of ceremonies. If you have questions, maybe you can ask them.
Thank you so much, Miss Raylene. I think later pa po yung ating question and answer.
Okay.
That was very informative po and uplifting indeed. And as women, whatever gender we are in, we have the power to become empowered and inspire others. Thank you again, Miss Raylene. And we will be entertaining questions and sharing of empowering stories from the participants after our intermission number. You may type your question on the chat box or raise a hand to be recognized later. Okay, now to give us a special number, it is the symphonic panfluist, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Annie Veronica de Guzman. All right, while Annie is preparing, you may key in or you may type na sa ating chat box if ever you want to share something to us or if ever you want to ask Miss Raylene anything with regards to our topic for today. Annie? Let's give a round of applause again to Miss Annie Veronica de Guzman. Thank you so much, Miss Veronica, for that wonderful rendition of Isn't She Lovely? Talaga naman lovely, okay? For more symphonic band's amazing performances, please visit the Students Affairs Center's Facebook page and YouTube channel. And dun nyo rin makikita yung different updates from our Student Affairs Center. Okay? I think we are ready now for our question and answer portion. Miss Raylene, you are muted po.
Naman. Okay, thank you. So I can see sa ating chat box, how do we handle stereotypes that women who have strong personalities and strong leadership attributes are less likable or less feminine? Actually, that is true, no? And I was so there is this discussion. I was watching this discussion by the former Prime Minister of Australia and the new head, the woman, the new head of the World Trade Organization. She's from Nigeria, and they are talking of the same thing. That yun nga parang um, less women when they are in positions of leadership, they are less likable. There's this stereotype na parang, they wouldn't want to work for them. Unlike for men na parang okay lang, sige, you can drink beer with them and so on. So I think this is something that society has to it's not actually the woman handling it, it is society having to come up, having to start accepting, and uh, siguro it starts within us. I remember watching yung conversation between these two powerful women, and then this head of the World Trade Organization, I forgot her name. She mentions that she has developed for herself, sense of fashion. So she always has this turban wrapped around her head. Uh, just to make it, parang that makes it a part of her identity, para hindi na nakailangan na every time she has to worry about her hair, about makeup and such. Kasi mga lalaki wala naman silang ganun, di ba? Pero pag babae, and she goes there, she goes there and she presents herself na walang makeup, hindi maayos yung buhok, sasabihin na parang there's less parang there's a more hostile environment pagdating sa ganon. So it's siguro to handle it is you have to create a certain identity for yourself, but at the same time work on empowering other women so that there and other people, so that there's more acceptance pagdating sa mga ganito. And women who are working and are in the positions of leadership are less feminine. Yes, there is this tawag nito stereotype din, no? But we already see some women breaking barriers, like the prime minister of New Zealand. She would go, she would have her tawag nito, she would have her press conference, and then she would talk about having to settle her child or having to breastfeed and ganyan. So siguro it would take a bit of time and people will get to that. But for now, siguro among ourselves, we have to start thinking of women as people who are capable, and being a leader doesn't mean that they are less likable. It's also unfair that women have to exert more effort to get people to like them, or at least get people to respect them. It's not really the likability, but it's the respect. But it's true that women, they tend to work harder to get that kind of respect, like they have to prove themselves more. Okay, so how do you handle the pressure of asking people around, how will you get married and have children? I stopped I stopped answering. I would always, pag mga ganito, like, there are seminars and you have to introduce yourselves, inuunahan ko na. So some married people, they will introduce yourselves. I am so and I'm Mrs. So and so. I'm happily married. Some would introduce themselves as I'm Miss so and so. I am single and ready to mingle. I would always tell them, I'm single and happily single. And if they tell me that it's you need to get married, somebody has to take care of you when you get older, or I would always say na, marriage is not a guarantee for happiness, and marriage is not a guarantee, or having children is not a guarantee that you will somebody will be there when you are old, because in the first place you shouldn't make your children your anong tawag, insurance, di ba? You don't make your children your insurance. That's why you have to get yourself to that point where you are independent enough and free enough to manage yourself when you get older, because other people, you shouldn't be that dependent sa ibang mga tao. So that's what I always tell. I always tell other people na it's not a guarantee. Marriage is not a guarantee, and my happiness is not dependent on having a husband and having children. Because not all who are married are happy, di ba? So, yeah.
That's true,
Did I
ma'am.
answer your question, Jermaine?
Yes, and I agree with you, Miss Raylene, because me too, I'm a single mom. At the same time, I'm a student leader, and I work also. So I felt that yung question ni Jermaine is relate na relate ako, ma'am, because of what we are experiencing, that when they see a woman as a president or a woman as someone who leads, parang medyo hesitant sila because they look at us as vulnerable, parang soft, and when when
Yeah.
our empowering moments, dun na lang sila napapablib na kaya pala niya. And when we do something different, medyo hindi nila ina-expect, kaya parang minsan we are less parang feminine or less likable, ika nga, when we're doing something different na hindi po sa parang beyond the normal.
Yeah, exactly. So parang there are still these stereotypes pagdating sa mga kababaihan.
Yes, ma'am. And so far naman po, as we prove and as we go a long way, sana on 2030, everybody will be empowered not only in our sector as women, but in all gender.
Yes, that is the goal.
All right, is there any questions po? Ayan, sabi nga po ni Margot, internalized misogyny. Yes, that's true. Okay, is there any questions po with regards our topic for today, or if you want to ask anything kay Miss Raylene? If wala na, ayan. Mukhang wala naman na po, Miss Raylene, and mukhang medyo naliwanagan po sila today with our webinar. And now, to award the Certificate of Appreciation to our guest speaker, may we call on the Student Development and Training Assistant, Miss Leia B. Dega. Ma'am Leia?
Ayan. So, thank you, Diane. Okay, and good afternoon sa ating lahat. Much appreciation and gratitude to Miss Raylene. It's really an honor to have you here. Natuloy din after a year. So, let me flash the... wait lang. There. Let me flash this certificate. Ayan, to our participants, wala na bang magtatanong?
Ayan. So while waiting for Ma'am Leia and our certificate to come out. So if ever you have questions, you can still ask, and don't forget to answer the evaluation form to be posted in a while. Ayan. So Ma'am Leia.
Ayan, can you see my screen na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there. Okay, again, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rai. I meant it when I said it's really an honor to have you here with us today. So let me read the citation. My mouse is not working. Yeah. So let me read the citation. Trinity University of Asia Student Affairs Center Certificate of Appreciation is hereby given to Ms. Raylene N. Ngataa in grateful appreciation for imparting her valuable insights and inspirations as resource person in the webinar Herstory Empowered Women Empowering Women, given the 16th day of March 2021 in Quezon City, Philippines. Signed by Dr. Marlon J. Gomez, the Dean of Students, Dr. Gisela D.A. Luna, Vice President for Academic Affairs, and Dr. Wilfred Yu Chu, University President. So once again, thank you, Rai, to the Zoom participants, to the active participants, sa lahat po nang nag-respond, nag-share. Thank you very much to our FB Live viewers, to Patricia, Veronica, and our amazing MC, Diane. Ayan, so to all Juanas, you go girl. And to end, let me share a quote from Love Happens Magazine. Be the woman who fixes another woman's crown without telling the world it was crooked. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much, Ma'am Leia. And that formally ends our Her Story webinar. We hope you had so much fun attending as we did organizing it. And don't forget to fill up the evaluation form posted at the chat box. And once again, thank you, Miss Raylene. Sana po maulit ito. At thank you, dear participants. We appreciate your time today and watch out for the next webinars of the Students Affairs Center. We had a lot in store for you. God bless everyone. Go mga wana and let's go girl.
Thank you for inviting me. It was an honor to be with you and to join you. Next time, siguro mas maganda pag tawag nito face to face.
That's
Oo nga, maganda face-to-face.
Yeah.
Para kita-kita. 1 year in the making nga, no? Naalala ko, 1 year in the making. Oo, tagal. Supposedly, di ba, mga bandang March 28?
Yeah.
Oo. Kaya, it's nice. And siguro meron din tayong, just to announce to everyone that there will be a continuing effort to educate yung mga sa magano kami ng maliliit na micro courses or micro learning something sa ating website na pwede mapunta doon and then makita information or materials for our advocacies like women empowerment, 'di ba? Yung anti-bullying, yung sa anti-drugs, etc., etc. So a lot of things in store for all of us, and I hope you'll be able to do this and be able to complete this before before we end our year. Ayan, thank you. Thank you. Congratulations. Yeah, bye.
bye po.
Thank you, sir. Thank you po.
Bye, thank you.
Again, please don't forget to fill out the evaluation form posted sa ating chat box. Thank you. Have a blessed day, everyone.